I am looking forward to an invigorating and interesting conversation with Mr. President. I'd like to start, sir, with the question of how does the Armenian inventions and engineers have contributed enormously to science in the world, from PET scans to color TVs, the ATM, many other projects. You're a scientist. What, in your view, is the most important scientific contribution that Armenians have given to the world?
Thank you for the question. I do think there is a huge list that you have started reading that list, but I do believe the biggest and the most important contribution to the world science technology will be in the future. I think I was meeting together with you young girls and boys here, and I think the energy, enthusiasm, and interest to do something, to be involved in what is happening in the world in the 21st century is there. And I think this nation has some advantages. It's not only the history, because you go back, you find Armenians everywhere, in every sector. And even today, a lot of people in America, you're American. There are two vaccines in America, Pfizer and Moderna. Moderna is created by an Armenian young gentleman who is a professor at MIT, and he's running a venture fund called Flagship Ventures. So how many people know that in America there are only two vaccines and one of them is Armenian? Not many. Is this the biggest contribution? Of course not. A couple of days ago, another Armenian who was born in Lebanon but is full Armenian got Nobel Prize in a different sector in biotechnologies and healthcare and so on. So there is so much that Armenians have done, and the one important example is Mr. Kemurjan, what he has done as a contribution. But I do believe it's the best is in the future. What is that we have to do? Why do I think the future will be more important than our past? And there is a thing or a theory that I do believe that this is a nation, and you don't argue with that has one important value or asset, which is the human asset. And that human asset has value because it's an asset that was developed during the centuries, thousands of years, because Armenians were living here for thousands of years. Armenians living here, creating their culture, their religion, their homes were also a part of the global infrastructure, global events. I mean, you can call them Armenians were classically trading nation, or if you just travel, you go to India, to Calcutta or to Madras, you'll find old Armenian churches and presence of Armenians in India. And you go further down from Madras, you go to Singapore. The most famous hotel is built by an Armenian whose name was Sarkis. Today's Armenia is the continuation of what we had before. Unfortunately, after the genocide, the number of Armenians that perished was huge. We lost a lot of talent. We lost a lot of geniuses. If not the genocide, probably we would have had more Kemurjans worldwide that had been contributing into art, music, technology, and science. But it has also created further the Armenian diaspora, those who live abroad. So if you look at the current Armenia, it's a small state but a global nation. And one asset that we do have is people. And this is not a nice word or something to please each other. No, it's true. The question is, are we managing that asset well or not? And my answer is no, we are not managing it well. Because this country, as a small state, and I'm starting with the state, because as the head of the state, and it's easier to criticize yourself. I think we are not managing well, because to be honest, there are several reasons and problems, and one of the problems is our constitution. The constitution doesn't allow an Armenian living abroad coming back to Armenia immediately serving the country. The same Mr. Nubar Afeyan cannot become Minister of Health of Armenia or Science, because he has to come back according to constitution, live 4 years in Armenia only, and carry only Armenian passport for 4 years, which is absolute nonsense. In 21st century, we need our assets, that assets are developed in France, they are developed in Russia, they are developed in Singapore, they are developed in America, in Argentina. We need them to come and serve the country and the nation immediately. So it's a big, big mistake, and that's why I'm talking about changing the constitution. That's very important. The moment we open the doors and start learning how to use our biggest asset, I think then we will be seeing a real flourishing of Armenian nation worldwide. For the moment, we look like a Gulf state that the asset is oil, but we decided not to use it. I think we have to do everything, making relations between the state of Armenia, the nation, and also the whole network of Armenia is working much more effective. The world people are sitting and creating new forms of creating networks. The Facebooks of this world and the others, okay? We Armenians had this for hundreds of centuries, and we are not using it. So, the short answer to your question is that I'm looking forward for the girls and boys that will make huge contribution to science and technology in the future.
The tech industry in Armenia is very vibrant. In fact, a couple of our sponsors, I think, of this gathering. Can you point to any developments or upcoming developments in the tech industry that might be useful in the space, in the coming days in the space exploration field?
Well, I would rather not say this or that one. I do agree and I do disagree with you that the tech industry, because here in Armenia we do believe that we have a high level of IT sector, which I think should be formulated in a different way. We have a huge potential to have a very big IT sector. We don't have the IT sector yet. We have a lot of things that do to make sure that indeed we have a vibrant sector. Everybody has to do its job. High-tech and the Minister of Education, they have to do their job. The government has to do. As I said, I think we need full support to that. And the president, well, this is a parliamentary republic. I'm not executive president, but we have a couple of initiatives, and one of them is Summit of Minds, bringing people together like in Davos and talking not only about geopolitics, but about the future of 21st century of new technologies, their role, and others. So that will be happening again. It's the third one happening this year in Dilijan next week. We have an initiative which is called Atom, Advance Tomorrow, because I do believe there is a gap in our development. There is a lot of talent. There are angels that are supporting this young talent. There are those who are happy to support startups, but Armenia is too small to speak about venture funds. Well, there are no venture funds in Russia, big venture funds. There are no big venture funds in Europe. But the big venture funds are in America, and the biggest ones are in California. And it's clear why, because the big industry is there. So you have to, in order to have startups flourishing, you have to have somewhere close the big industry. So project Initiative Atom is about bringing big industries to Armenia in the forms of joint ventures with companies like Google, IBM, Dassault, Thales, Siemens, or Munich Technological University, Moscow State University, or Yandex, and so on and so forth. Why? Because in Armenia, and these are joint ventures, and Atom is a fund to support these joint ventures, because you always have to have the big industry not very far. So the big industry will need young, talented scientists The young startups, they don't have to fly to Silicon Valley to find someone, big company, to negotiate because they will find someone nearby. And the presence of big industries will also push us to develop further our educational system. Because the key is the next generation. Why on earth anybody should come to Armenia or invest in Armenia? Because you are investing not into an idea. Idea is 1% of your success, or 2 or 3. Ideas die very quickly. Most important ingredients are others, not only the idea. How do you manage, how do you finance, and do you have enough talent in the country? So there is natural talent, but you have to develop them through educational system. So there must be a sector which is big enough to encourage younger generation. So it's a complex thing, but we don't have any other way to go. The future of our country is in 21st century. That means we have to have the absolute modern biotechnology, we have to have absolute modern artificial intelligence, especially on the software side, mathematics side, but also we have to build modern agriculture. And young people have to understand that they live in a village, they can live a life of modern person, being a part of the world, but enjoying the beauty of being a farmer. So I think whatever we do in Armenia has to be high-tech. And I'll explain you in 2 words what does that mean. High in Armenian means Armenian. And high-tech means also Armenian tech, Armenian technology. So what we have to develop in Armenia is a simple thing. High tech, which is the high technology, and in the same time, it's the Armenian technology.
Next year, Starmus 6 is coming to Armenia. Can you tell us a little bit about what that means for Armenia and what it is?
I think Starmus is a great achievement. And again, the idea was very nice, but as I said, idea is just 1% of your success. The 99 is devotion, energy, hard work, ability of bringing others, sharing your idea, which Garik and also the members of the Starbucks board, they all have that because they are natural leaders, all of them, be that scientists, musicians. And it's a great project. And I am happy that I invited them to come in Zurich at the Starmus 5, and I'm very happy that the board has accepted that. What I would like to see Starmus 6 as a new level of Starmus. Starmus was always about science, specifically astronomy, and music, specifically rock music. What I would like to see Starmus 6, the beginning of a new area for Starmus, when we speak about the wider science, because stars, as Garik says, is the most attractive side of it, but cosmos has every science in it, starting from elementary particles. Now, today, speaking about astronomer or astrophysicist, basically, I used to be a theoretical astrophysicist. Basically, I had to know everything, starting from elementary particles, quantum, electrodynamics, up to cosmology. This is the new astronomy. So I would love to see Starmus 6 encouraging not only astronomy, but generally science. So I would love to see that during our discussions next year, a lot about artificial intelligence, biotechnology, not only astronomy. That's one thing for sure. So I think Starmus 6 should be also a festival of general music, not only rock music, but also modern music, be that R&B, house, or anything, up to classical music. So this is the way I see, and this is why we share it with Garik, that it should be a big festival, and I hope it will be an international festival, and I hope everybody will get their own modernas, so that we will be a COVID-free country, and I will be very happy to have thousands of visitors to Armenia to participate in the big festival of science and culture. Because in my dreams, I would love to think about Armenia as another capital of the world in 21st centuries of Renaissance. Because it was during the Renaissance that science and technology were together. And I think in 21st century, science, technology, our lives are becoming one.
Does anyone, I guess I could ask, does anyone have a question for the president out there? Mrs. President?
Only president in the world who dreams to go to space. What's the perspective of space tourism?
Well, it's a family story because before becoming president, I seriously was considering becoming a space tourist. I still have the dream. And in fact, we were in Chamonix at our French Summit of Minds, and I was approached by another space agency or new company. So I have now already 3 offers. It's a dream when you are a child or you are young. When I was small kid, just very small, I saw even in Armenia how the positive energy and the joy of people when Gagarin went into space. So from that day, you have this virus inside of you that you are a part of the universe. And so this is one of the reasons maybe that I became physicist and so on and so forth. Pretty soon, in a couple of years, I think in a couple of years, those young faces, most of them will go to space. And going to space will be like flying today on an airplane. And I'm not jealous. I'm just very happy that there is a generation now that will have that great opportunity of understanding that this place is a small one, and we have to take care of each other, friends, like me, my friend of 50 years, my wife, my family, my nation here, and our state, our global nation. But also we should understand that this planet cannot afford doing things which are not with common sense. Fighting each other. This country has gone through a war last year. An absolute nonsense war, because this was in the middle of COVID. When everybody was suffering from COVID, both Armenia and Azerbaijan started the war. I think we have to understand that this planet is too small for behaving irresponsibly and basically not thinking about future generation, about the cleanness of the water, about the cleanness of the air, about the temperatures that we live.
Here's my question. You have talked about advantages and prominent points of IT sphere in Armenia. What do you think? Are there any flaws in educational system or the environment where Armenian scientists work and create? And what we can do to change that and make more sufficient environment education system to have more scientists?
I think we have to have a concept. And it should start with a vision. First of all, we have to question the answer or the core of your question. Do we really need to make Armenia a high-tech country or not? It looks a simple question, but I would love to have a debate on that with all of you, with much bigger audience, Armenians and non-Armenians, to make sure that we are seriously thinking that the new technology, high-tech, is the only way forward. The moment we know that, then we have to have a vision. Why? Because you start moving, and this world is very fast. It changes all the time. And you have 360 degrees where to move. You move left, you move right, you go forward, you go backwards. Where's the right track? And the answer is very simple. The answer should be classical, not quantum. Because if you start thinking quantum there, then you'll be lost. Because you'll have probability of being here and here everywhere. I think you have to think very classical. This is where I am today. This is where I want to be in 2000, whatever, 45, 50, 60. I want to be here. I want to have this. In order to make that clear, you have to also value where the world will be at that day. Well, it will be evaluation, it will be approximate, there will be a lot of mistakes in that valuation, but doesn't matter. We can think that where the world will be, let's say, in 10 years' time, and where I want me to be in 10 years' time. What is going to be the global market tomorrow in 10 years' time? And what is my product that I'm going to sell in that global market to make my money, to buy other things that I need? Well, so it's very important to have a vision and a target. Then we all have to believe in that. We all have to believe in that. We all have to go the same target. And whoever is going left and right, sorry, come together, we're all going there. It's not that you are a genius, you go left. You are a genius, go alone, okay. You'll show that you are right. But we all have to make an effort to go forward because we know where we want to end up. And then have target, vision, plan. That plan should include everything, starting from childhood, family education, up to the support and advantages that we're giving to that sector. If we decide it's agriculture, fine. If we decide it's IT, fine. If biotechnology, fine. We have to support it. I was born in Soviet Union. To be a member of Academy of Sciences and be a scientist was a privilege. And you could see that. Why? Because that country was communist in every sense. We didn't have much freedoms, there was no proper economy, no competition in the economy. Many things were wrong, but there were things that were right. Soviet educational system was capitalistic, very competitive. So to be a successful student was encouraged. So if we want to develop in 10 years' time Armenia, the place that we all want to reach, okay, we have to make the society not only helping, but giving respect to success, making the whole environment very competitive for younger people. And every successful case should be rewarded. And the society should show their respect, even when they walk in the street. I mean, when academician Hambar Sumyan was walking the street, people were looking at them and other great scientists, or artists, or Martiros Saryan and others. There were, you know what? We had in our vocabulary a word that these great people were given. These were not a title of a member of Academia of Sciences or an order of Lenin, no. The title was master, in Armenian vārpet. So they were not approaching that great artist, just saying, comrade this, no. They were saying master. So this was a city of masters. There were masters in this city. And they were calling master when Aram Khachaturian was coming here, the great composer. He was a master. So I would love to see Armenia a country of masters, where being a master is the highest honor. So fixing problems in our educational system, it's a long discussion, and we have to have all of us, or to get the best education, not fixing. We have to come up with an education which is better than anybody's. We have to take everybody's education, but build our one which is better than anybody's. If we want to be ahead of others, our educational system should not replica someone's.
I think we'll take the next question.
Yes.
First of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to come here and take part in this event. My question is actually for everyone in this room. Don't you think that, first of all, we have to deal with problems on Earth, such as hunger or wars, discriminations, and only after that consider living on Mars in future?
I can reformulate that question in a different form. Let's go back 100 years. I mean, again, the world was in a mess, 110 years before the First World War. The world was in a mess, the wars were there was huge poverty. But the states were giving money for research. Those states that had this they could afford that. Be that in Russian Empire, having good universities in St. Petersburg, Moscow, or be that in France, or be that in Germany, or be that in UK or in America. I mean, the same question you could have asked then. When there are so many people who are hungry, okay? Why on earth you are giving money for these crazy scientists, physicists, to discover atoms? Who cares what is the composition of this table? It's as an abstract question as flying to Mars. Abstract. Who cares? There are hungry people there. But the money and allocation, universities' efforts were done. And they discovered something which was called quantum physics. And that quantum physics was used then in competition between United States, as you were mentioning, and the Soviet Union, which has accelerated the development of science, because competition is always good. But eventually, everybody here in this room is benefiting from what the crazy thing that was done 100 years ago, supporting science, or supporting Professor Rutherford at Cavendish Labs. Cavendish Labs at their time were pretty expensive labs, discovering the structure of atom. But whatever we have today, starting from this microphone, your phones flying into air, is quantum physics. If we didn't invest in that, we'd be nowhere. And then it takes me back to about poverty and wars and so on. In a place like India, hundreds of millions of people are not hungry. I'm not taking other states, India, China, hundreds of millions of people, or billions, a couple of billion of people, are not hungry because these states, ordinary people, Chinese, are sitting in front of a computer and giving us computer service. If not computers, if not quantum physics, these guys would never have a job, will never feed their families. So investing in science and flying to a moon or to a space is not just for pleasure. I mean, it's investing in research of fundamental science, because you cannot fly to the moon without making your technology even 10 times stronger. So investing in a flight to the moon, you are investing in the higher technology, you are investing in new technology, the technology that will create hundreds of millions of jobs tomorrow. And the language for the future is technology and science.
I had a practical question regarding everything that we talked about, of progress in technology and development in this country. And I personally think that one of the biggest contributing factors to that are students and young scientists. So how do you think the approach should be to incorporate more students in young bachelors or masters or PhD students into the actual development of technology, and how to achieve that said high tech through utilizing all of our power, and not just people who are already in the field, but people who want to be in the field? Because oftentimes the youth brings a lot of new stuff that maybe other people didn't think of, and collaborating and combining the old and the new often brings to far better results than just picking one over the other.
Yeah.
So how do you think that should be done?
I think we are on the right track, because if you speak to young people, both in Yerevan outside, I was in Vanadzor a while ago, and I asked the school girls and boys sitting, a lot of them, and I asked them to raise their hands what they want to become in the future. And the answers were interesting. Half of the audience wanted to become a diplomat. I don't know why. How many diplomats this country needs? And half of them programmers, IT. I think we're already there, because young people, they realize that in real life, to get a good job, to be able to look after your family, software engineer or a programmer is a good thing to do. So we have to take this a bit higher. I mean, explain that if you want to even a better life, you have to go into mathematics and physics in artificial intelligence. And if you want to go even higher, you have to think broadly. And that's one thing that we have to encourage them to do it. Secondly, it's very important that everybody in our country, nation, does the same thing, starting from president, prime minister, government, saying that this is our way of going. And we have to respect those who are talented. So, Kemurjian, 100 years. This is a conference to honor Kemurjian and to say how great guy he was, and to thank the son and the colleagues for what he has done. But this is also a small effort to encourage younger people to basically repeat what he has done or to do better. And I agree what you are saying. I think our target should be younger people. Probably I have to go to more schools and universities to meet you guys, younger people, and to encourage you and to share with you something that I have done right and something that I have done wrong. So I encourage you to do better. I think we all have to have great respect for you because, as I said at the beginning, I do believe that the biggest discoveries of my nation will be tomorrow. And you should do it. Thank you.
Yes, I must say that I am pleased and honored to be here for many reasons. First of all, because we are celebrating a great engineer who was Armenian, but who has worked for humanity. I think that this is a type of achievement which do not stay within the border of any country. This is something which is preparing the future of humanity. That is very important. And this morning I have heard that the son of Monsieur Kemurjian has said that the Armenians are a global nation. This is the best demonstration that which can be done by the work of Monsieur Kemurjian and the heritage for the future generation. I did not know Armenia except on a map, except in the history, but this is my first time, and I have discovered, first of all, the people of Armenia. And they are so kind, and I have discovered yesterday that among the gods of the Armenia, they are number one the god of hospitality, and that I can measure that, and also the god of science and education, and nowhere else in the world there are these two gods. So this is the way myself I see Armenia. First of all, nice people, and second, education and science. And the president has just said that science and education is certainly the priority of the government of Armenia.
I think this event is a way for the country of Armenia to showcase its intellectual wealth, and the fact that you have a president who is a physicist, has a doctorate in physics, is, I think, very interesting and gives one a sense of the respect for science that must be widespread here. I felt that having a president like that probably brings a sense of respect for science into the political system, which is probably a good thing in this time when we have need for scientists to be telling us what's going on with advances in medicine, and especially in the pandemic.